right, here we go. Drag strip trip number 2. Hopefully I'll get down into the 12s today. I'll be happy with any 12 because my last trip I only made it to 13.2 or so, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be fun. Thankfully there doesn't look like there's a lot of people here yet.
You ready for Daddy?
Yeah. Go, Daddy, go, Daddy, go, Daddy. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, Daddy. Go, Daddy, go, Daddy. Go, Daddy, go, Daddy, go, Daddy, go, Daddy. Oh, go, Daddy, yay, on.
Yeah, we gotta turn the light on.
That, yay, on.
CT! so home from the drag strip now. I just want to wrap this video up and go over how my night went. Overall, it wasn't really that good of a night. I was a little bit slower than I was last year. I'll put a link above to my video from last year, but I was about a tenth slower, but my mile per hour did go up, I think about 1 or 2 miles per hour from where I was last year. So I'm kind of disappointed in that because I did a lot of work to the car over the winter and a lot of tune-up type stuff. Plus I got it tuned about a month ago, so I was expecting to be a good bit faster, but I was actually slower. And I think there's pretty much 3 main things contributing to that. First is the tires. This car has Michelin Super Sports on the rear, which I think are just garbage for drag racing. There's a couple people at the drag strip have told me that they're no good. I've read on the forums that they're no good, and I really haven't seen anybody in any of the Facebook groups ever recommend them. So, I mean, they're the tires that were on the car when I bought it. I'm trying to just burn through them, and then I'll get a better tire eventually. But I just have no traction with those. One thing that was positive about last night was my burnouts were much better. So that's one thing I did read on the forum, is that these tires could work okay if you do a super long burnout and get them really hot. I did get better at doing burnouts last night. I think it was my second run, I got a really good one where the car, I started the burnout and it just sat there and I could have smoked the tires for 5 minutes. That was a really good one, and that was probably my best launch of the night, but I missed third gear on that run, so it was a bad run anyways. Which leads me to my second point. I had a lot of trouble shifting the car last night. Like, the first run was okay, but every run after that I had a lot of trouble shifting the car. It was hard to put in the first when I was pulling up to the line. It was really hard to get in the third. I actually missed third on 2 different runs, and one of the runs I over-revved the engine pretty good because I missed third. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like anything's hurt or damaged. Engine might be a little bit more noisy, but this car has a crap ton of like valve train noise. There's ticking and lifting noises and just all sorts of noises from the engine. So it's really hard to tell if it's any worse than what it was. But I mean, I don't know, still it seems to drive fine. So I don't know. Hopefully it's all right. But I'm having trouble getting in reverse now. So I think the clutch fluid is just dirty. These cars have a problem where the clutch fluid gets contaminated really easily with the dust from the clutch. And you have to change that. You have to bleed that fluid out pretty regularly. Otherwise, you have problems like this where it's hard to get the car in gear and hard to shift it. So I'm thinking that's my problem. I didn't bleed the fluid before the event, so I'm thinking that's just why I had trouble shifting. So thankfully, I did put a remote bleeder line on this car over the winter, so bleeding the clutch will be super easy. So what I said, the tires are struggles, so the car is like no traction leaving the line. It was hard shifting, so I'm having to shift like really slowly and deliberately, and I think that's really slowing me down. And the other thing is I'm getting a lot of wheel hop. I've read that wheel hop is a problem on these cars, and if you go back and watch my first run, you'll hear it. If I pull away and get too much wheel spin, it just hops and bangs, and it's really violent. So I think I need to put, they make transmission braces and then upgraded differential mounts for these cars, which fix a lot of the wheel hop problems. So I thought about doing that last year, but those parts are really expensive, so I said I would just wait. So I'm going to do it this winter. I have all the parts. Actually, that's what all these boxes are here. I have all the parts to upgrade the rear differential with C5 Z06 parts. So when I take the diff out this winter, I'll get a transmission brace and I'll get a diff mount, and hopefully that'll fix the wheel hop problems. But so yeah, overall, it was a kind of night. Went a little bit slower, but I did learn how to do burnouts better. So that was something I wanted to work on getting better at, and I feel like I got a lot more confident with doing burnouts. Basically, the big difference with that was last year I was doing them in first gear. This year, or last night, I tried doing them in second, which was a lot easier to control the burnout. Like I got better, but I only had like 1 or 2 that were really good. the other ones were still not like that good. So I need a lot more practice doing burnouts. And then the shifting is a big deal because I just feel like I have to shift so slowly and deliberately in this car, even though it has an MGW shifter, which is, I think, probably the best shifter out there from all the stuff I've read. But it still feels like I just have to shift so slowly and deliberately to get it in gear. So I think I need to do some more browsing on the YouTubes and try to learn how to shift faster. And then I also have to bleed the fluid because I think part of the reason was the fluid was just contaminated, and that was part of my problem. And then the wheel hop, so you can't really just, it doesn't really just spin the tires, it just hops real bad. And when it does that, you have to get completely out of the gas. You can't power through it. So yeah, that's basically a wrap up of last night. It was fun still, but yeah, I think I might have to just give up on these tires. I don't think these tires are really going to do anything for me. So if I really want to be more serious with drag racing, I might have to just get a second set of rear wheels with some drag tires. And I think that would solve a lot of my problems. Make it a lot easier to launch the car. What else? So if you haven't seen, I had a pretty big crash in my Formula V a couple weeks ago. I'll put the link above, but I am also working on that car. I have the rear suspension all apart here because different pieces of it are bent, so I got to go through and straighten it all out, and I'm checking steering arms and other stuff on this car. So that's what I'm working on more so right now. The Corvette, I don't really have a lot planned coming up. Track days and autocross coming up, but I don't know. Not really that worried about those. So yeah, in summary, that's basically how the night went. Yeah, it was a little disappointing, but I did learn some stuff. Some things I need to do better, or some things I need to work on to get better. Anyways, that's pretty much a wrap. Thanks for checking out the video. If you see anything that I'm doing wrong, please feel free to comment, because I don't know anything really about drag racing. I'm just kind of fumbling through it as I learn. So feel free to tell me how to get better. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.